Welcome back, everybody. We're diving into the world of EV charging, specifically for fleets today.
Yeah, it's an interesting area. Lots going on.
We keep hearing about the challenges companies are having,
Yeah,
trying to adapt to electric vehicles and all that comes with it.
for sure.
We had some really interesting research, actually, from a listener about mobile EV charging.
Okay.
So, maybe this is the answer.
Yeah, we hear more and more about it these days.
What do you think are some of the biggest problems with relying just on fixed charging stations?
Well, I think the obvious one is just the wait times, right?
Yeah.
If you're a delivery driver.
Especially,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
You can't be sitting around for an hour waiting for your van to charge up.
No, absolutely not.
There's also the cost of installing all those chargers.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine trying to set up enough high-powered chargers
Right.
to charge a whole fleet of delivery trucks at a depot.
It's a logistical nightmare, I'd imagine.
Yeah, and expensive.
And what about the strain on the power grid?
Oh, yeah, that's a whole other issue right there.
I mean, that's something that we don't often talk about, but
Yeah, we need to think about where all this extra electricity is going to come from.
exactly.
If
Yeah.
everyone switches to EVs.
So is mobile charging the answer then?
Well, it could be a big part of the solution, I think.
Okay.
It's basically bringing the power to the vehicles instead of the other way around.
So you're not having to build all that fixed infrastructure.
Right.
Interesting. So how does it actually work then?
Well, you have these mobile charging units.
Okay.
They're basically like big batteries on wheels.
So they just drive around to wherever the vehicles are.
Exactly. They go to the depot or even meet vehicles out on the road.
So no more waiting in line at a charging station.
Nope.
Like it. And you mentioned that these mobile units can offer level 3 DC fast charging, right?
Yeah, that's one of the big advantages.
I always forget what that means, though.
Okay, so level 3 charging, it's also called DC fast charging.
Okay.
It uses direct current to charge the vehicle's battery, and it can get you up to like 80% charge in minutes
Really?
instead of hours like you'd see with a level 2 charger.
Oh, wow. Okay. So we're talking significantly faster
Yeah, much faster.
than what most people are probably used to.
Yeah.
So with mobile charging and these level 3 speeds, I mean, we're talking about huge time savings for fleets, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And time is money, as they say.
It is. And that's where the real cost savings come in.
Okay.
The research we're looking at suggests that switching to mobile charging
Yeah.
could save fleets thousands of dollars per vehicle every year.
Thousands per vehicle.
Yeah, it's pretty significant.
I'm really curious where those savings come from.
Well, the biggest one is avoiding the cost of building those fixed charging stations.
Makes sense.
I mean, that can be millions of dollars for a large fleet.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there are ongoing costs like maintenance and upgrades
Right.
that you also avoid with mobile charging.
It's kind of like the difference between having a landline and a cell phone, right?
Exactly. You get the flexibility without the big upfront costs.
I like that analogy.
And of course, you also save money by reducing downtime.
Oh, yeah.
Every minute a vehicle is sitting idle waiting to charge.
Yeah.
That's lost productivity.
So mobile charging keeps those EVs moving and making money.
Exactly.
So we're talking about convenience cost savings.
Uh-huh.
But is there anything else? It seems like there must be more.
Well, there's also the flexibility aspect.
Okay.
Mobile charging can adapt to the needs of different fleets
Yeah.
in a way that fixed infrastructure just can't.
I see.
For example, imagine you have a fleet of electric buses
Okay.
that needs to be recharged during the day.
Yeah.
A mobile unit could meet them at a central location during their downtime to give them a quick boost.
So they're ready to go for the evening rush hour.
Exactly. You wouldn't be able to do that with fixed chargers.
That's a really good point.
So it opens up a lot of possibilities.
Yeah, it seems like the applications are endless.
Yeah. Pretty much any fleet could benefit from this kind of flexibility.
The research specifically mentioned logistics and delivery companies as being prime candidates.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Companies like Amazon, FedEx, UPS,
Yeah,
they're all electrifying their fleets.
makes sense.
And they could save a ton of money and hassle with mobile charging.
I wonder what other industries could benefit from this.
Well, think about ride-sharing companies like Uber and Lyft.
Yeah,
Their drivers need to be able to charge quickly and efficiently.
to maximize their earnings.
Exactly. Mobile charging could be a game changer for them.
What about government fleets?
Oh, yeah.
Emergency response vehicles,
For sure.
utility companies,
Right.
even just regular corporate fleets who are
Yeah.
switching to EVs.
All great examples. I think we're just scratching the surface here.
Now, this research mentioned a company called BeeCharged EV.
Okay.
They seem to be one of the leaders in this space.
Yeah, I've heard of them.
They have this tagline, "No ZIP left behind."
catchy.
It sounds impressive.
Yeah, they're definitely aiming high.
I mean, nationwide coverage for mobile charging.
That's ambitious.
Is that even feasible?
I don't know. It's a good question.
What do you know about BeeCharged EV and their technology?
Well, they claim to offer level 3 DC fast charging.
Okay.
And they also have these fleet optimization services.
So they're not just plugging in vehicles.
Right. They're helping companies figure out the most efficient way to charge their fleets.
That sounds pretty sophisticated.
It is. They're using data and algorithms to optimize charging schedules
Interesting.
and minimize costs.
So it's not just about the hardware.
Nope. It's about the whole package.
So before we get too deep into BeeCharged EV, I think we need to take a step back and explain the technology behind these mobile charging units a little bit more.
Yeah. I think that's a good idea.
You know, for our listeners who might not be familiar with how it all works.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Let's break it down. So let's talk about what's inside these mobile charging units.
Yeah, you know, we keep saying big batteries on wheels,
Oh, I know.
but I mean, what kind of batteries are we actually talking about?
Right. Good question.
Are they the same ones that are in the EVs themselves, those lithium-ion batteries?
They can be, yeah. But there are other options too.
Okay.
Some mobile units will use lithium iron phosphate batteries.
Okay.
And those are known for being really safe.
Okay.
And they last a long time too.
Gotcha.
And then you've got some of the newer mobile units that are using solid-state batteries.
Ah, okay. Those are the ones that everyone's excited about.
Yeah, exactly.
I know they're supposed to be more efficient, right?
Yeah, they can store more energy in a smaller space.
So like, mobile unit with solid-state batteries could be smaller
Possibly.
and still pack the same punch.
Yeah, and they can charge faster too.
Wow. Okay.
So it really depends on what the mobile unit is being used for.
I see.
Like if it's for emergency roadside assistance,
Okay.
you might want a smaller, lighter battery.
That makes sense, yeah.
But if you're charging a whole fleet of buses overnight,
Yeah.
you're going to need a lot more battery capacity.
So how do these things actually manage to deliver that level 3 DC fast charging?
Right.
I mean, that seems like a lot of power to be carrying around.
It is, yeah.
It's a mini power plant, basically, right?
Kind of, yeah.
So how does it work?
So basically, they have these really sophisticated power electronics
Okay.
and thermal management systems.
Can you explain that a little bit more?
Sure. So the mobile unit has inverters,
Uh-huh.
and those convert the DC power from the battery into AC power.
Okay.
And then that gets converted back to DC at a higher voltage to charge the EV.
Okay, and why all the converting back and forth?
Well, it's the most efficient way to get the power to the EV battery.
I see.
But all that converting generates a lot of heat.
Oh, right.
So you need really good thermal management to keep everything cool and running smoothly.
So it's not just a big battery. There's a lot of tech in there.
Yeah, there's a lot going on under the hood.
I bet. And they have to communicate with the EV too, right?
Yeah,
To
absolutely.
make sure everything's charging properly.
Yeah, there are control systems that talk to the EV
Mm-hmm.
and make sure it's not getting overcharged or anything like that.
Wow. It's pretty amazing how far this technology has come.
Oh, yeah, it's really impressive.
And it's still evolving, right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I read something about dynamic load management.
Uh-huh.
What is that?
So that's where you can charge multiple vehicles at the same time
Okay.
from one mobile unit.
But how does that not overload the grid?
Well, the system is smart enough to manage the power flow.
So it's like a traffic cop for electricity.
Exactly.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty slick.
So it's not just about delivering the power, it's about managing it intelligently.
Exactly.
So this all sounds great, but I'm sure there are still some challenges, right?
So of course, yeah, there are always challenges with new technology.
Like what?
Well, one concern is the impact of all this DC fast charging on battery life.
Right, I've heard that before.
Yeah, this is a bit of a trade-off.
How so?
Well, fast charging is super convenient, but some studies suggest that it can cause the battery to degrade faster.
So you're getting the speed, but maybe sacrificing some longevity.
Potentially, yeah.
That's interesting.
It's something that researchers are still looking into.
Yeah, we're still early in the EV game.
We are, yeah.
I also wonder about all these mobile units driving around.
Uh-huh.
Won't that just add to traffic congestion?
Yeah, that's a valid concern,
Especially in cities,
especially in cities, yeah.
where things are already crowded.
Exactly.
So we need to think about that.
Yeah, we need to make sure that mobile charging is integrated in a way that's efficient.
And doesn't create more problems than it solves.
Exactly.
It seems like there are a lot of moving parts here.
There are, yeah.
It's not just the technology, it's the infrastructure, the planning. It's a whole ecosystem.
It is, yeah.
And we need to make sure it all works together.
We do.
And speaking of the bigger picture, what about the environmental impact of these mobile units?
Right. That's an important consideration.
I mean, we're talking about big batteries,
Yeah.
which have their own environmental footprint.
They do.
So we need to make sure we're not just shifting the emissions from the tailpipe to the battery factory.
Exactly. That's a key point.
What are some of the things we need to be thinking about?
Well, the sourcing of the materials for the batteries is really important. We need to make sure those materials are mined responsibly.
Right.
And we need to think about the end of life for these batteries.
Recycling.
Yeah, recycling is crucial.
We don't want to create a whole new waste stream.
Exactly. We need to close the loop.
So it's about the whole life cycle of the battery from cradle to grave.
Exactly.
It's not just about the charging. It's about the bigger picture.
It is.
And that includes the social and economic impacts too, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, will this technology be accessible to everyone?
That's a good question.
Or will it just be for the big companies that can afford it?
Right. We need to make sure that it benefits everyone.
And what about jobs? Will this create new jobs, or will it displace workers in traditional fuel industries?
That's something we need to be mindful of.
It seems like mobile charging brings up a lot of new questions.
It does, yeah.
But it also offers a lot of potential solutions.
It does.
It's exciting, but also a little daunting.
Yeah, it's a complex landscape.
But it's a conversation we need to be having.
Absolutely. It's the future of transportation.
Okay, so we've talked about the technology, the challenges, the environmental and social implications. But let's shift gears a bit and talk about the future of mobile charging.
Okay, yeah.
What does the road ahead look like?
I think it's going to be really exciting.
How so?
Well, as the technology keeps getting better, we're going to see even more innovative applications.
Like what?
Well, imagine mobile units that can power construction equipment.
Oh, wow.
Or agricultural machinery.
Okay.
Or even provide backup power during emergencies.
So it's not just about cars and trucks anymore.
Nope. It could be anything that needs power.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah. It's a whole new world of possibilities.
And as battery technology improves and costs come down, we could even see mobile charging for long-haul trucking.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
Imagine that, mobile units meeting trucks along their routes, so they don't have to stop at these massive charging depots.
Exactly.
That would be a game changer.
It would.
That would really help electrify the trucking industry.
Yeah, and reduce emissions significantly.
This all sounds very futuristic.
It does, doesn't it?
But are there any downsides to all of this?
Well, one concern is cybersecurity.
All right.
As these mobile units become more connected, they could become targets for hackers.
That's a good point. We've seen that with other connected systems.
Exactly. So we need to make sure these units are secure.
And what about standardization?
Right. That's another important issue.
Right now, everyone's kind of doing their own thing, right?
Yeah, there are a lot of different companies developing their own solutions.
So we need to make sure that everything works together.
Exactly. You need some industry standards.
Otherwise, you could have a situation where a mobile unit from one company can't charge a vehicle from another company.
Right. That would be a mess.
And what about regulation?
Yeah, that's another big one.
I mean, who's going to oversee all of this?
Right. We need to figure out how to regulate these mobile units.
Make sure they're safe and that they're operating responsibly.
Exactly.
It seems like there's still a lot to figure out.
There is, yeah.
But it's exciting to see how this is all developing.
It is.
It feels like we're on the cusp of something big.
We are.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground today. From the nuts and bolts of the technology to the broader implications for our economy, our environment, and our society.
It's a big topic.
It is. Let's take a quick break and come back.
Okay.
And look at some specific examples of how companies are using mobile charging in the real world.
Sounds good.
All right. So we've talked a lot about the potential of this mobile EV charging, but I want to see it in action.
Right.
You know, what are some actual companies doing with this?
Well, there are some pretty cool examples out there already.
The research we were looking at mentioned everything from like delivery fleets to public transportation.
Yep, that's right.
What about public transportation? What are they doing?
So there's this one case in California where a big electric bus manufacturer is working with a mobile charging company to basically create these en-route charging stations.
Oh, wow. En route.
Yeah. So the buses don't have to go back to the depot to charge.
That's smart.
Yeah, they just get topped up at these designated spots along their routes.
So they can stay out longer.
Exactly.
And they don't need as much charging infrastructure at the depot.
Right.
That's brilliant. What about those logistics companies we were talking about earlier?
Yeah, so there's a big delivery company in Europe that's piloting mobile charging at some of their distribution centers.
How does that work?
Well, they use the mobile units at night. When all the delivery vans come back to the depot and the units charge them up overnight.
So they're ready to go in the morning.
Exactly.
Without having to install a ton of chargers.
Right.
So they're basically using moment charging as a way to extend the reach of their existing infrastructure.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Interesting. And I also read about companies using mobile charging for, like, electric car sharing programs.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
You don't want those cars just sitting around charging when they could be out making money.
Exactly. So the mobile units can go around and charge up the cars.
Wherever they are.
Yeah, in areas with high demand.
So there's always a supply of available vehicles.
That's the idea.
It seems like this technology is popping up everywhere.
It is. It's really starting to take off.
I'm really interested in the potential for long-haul trucking.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier.
Are there any companies actually working on that?
Yeah, there's a startup here in the U.S. That's developing a really high-power mobile charging system, specifically for trucks.
And how does that work?
So it can deliver a pretty substantial charge in like 30 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Which is about how long a truck driver has to take a break anyway.
So they can just charge up while they're resting.
Exactly.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's a really clever solution.
So it's like turning rest stops into charging stations.
Yeah, basically.
That could really be a game changer for the trucking industry.
It could. It could really help them make the switch to electric.
I'm excited to see where this all goes.
Me too. It's a really exciting time to be following this technology.
But I do keep thinking back to those challenges we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
You know, the environmental impact, the accessibility issues, the cybersecurity risks.
It's important to keep those in mind.
We need to make sure that mobile charging is developed in a way that's sustainable and equitable.
Absolutely.
So that everyone can benefit from it.
That's the goal.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling pretty optimistic after all of this.
Me too. There's a lot to be excited about.
This has been a really fascinating deep dive into the world of mobile EV charging.
It has.
Thanks for walking us through it all.
My pleasure.
And thanks to our listeners for sending in that great research.
Yes, thank you.
I think it's clear that mobile charging has the potential to really transform the way we power our vehicles.
Absolutely.
And I can't wait to see what the future holds.
Me neither.
Until next time, keep those wheels turning.
Electrically, of course.
Electrically.